And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and night. I'm the Jack Pilot. Welcome to Jack Pilot Aviation, where today we are going over how to teach a technical subject area. All right, pretty simple. We have area of operation number 2, not number 1, but number 2. Today we're going over specifically runway incursion avoidance. Now this video is only tailored to how to teach a technical subject area and not intended to teach you about the specific task we are going over today. This is more or less just how to teach the subject area to your DPE or your student in this case. So again, I'll be going over this. If you're preparing for a CFI check ride, make sure to go over all of my FOI area videos as well. That would be very good for you, as well as my CFI review full guide video, which will be pinned up in the top right here. I'll put right there. So in the meantime, let's get going. Let's go over task C. So first up, right, if you watch my full guide tutorial about the CFI check ride and the full guide, you'll know that you need to make a PowerPoint, okay, or in this case a flight lesson or a lesson plan for this, okay. Now we can start it off just by this, runway incursion avoidance. Easy, task C, and then a picture. Everyone loves pictures. DPEs love pictures especially, and again, for a student it makes it easier for them to grasp as well, okay? Now, we have runway incursion avoidance, task C. Now, first, what's next? We have the objective, right? The objective, what we want to achieve, what we're trying to make the student comprehend, what we're trying to have the DPE understand, okay? We're going to be having this overall objective. So, the importance of hold short lines, well, that sounds like a good objective to have and mitigate risk. How to properly maneuver the aircraft around the airport. That sounds very smart too. Understand the airport environment. That sounds like a good idea as well. Operations at towered versus non-towered airports. This is going to be very important via ATC phraseology. If you watch my most recent video, I went over this about towered and non-towered airport phraseology, where ATC can even miss readbacks, so it can be very dangerous. Again, we'll get into this. This is why it's an objective, as well as safely avoiding runway incursions. All right, this is going to be safely avoiding runway incursions. This is going to be the basic overall objective of what we're trying to achieve, right? Safely avoiding runway incursions basically applies to all three of these, okay? Now, on the ACS, right? We have ACS, task C, runway incursion avoidance. Now, if you want to, you may add references, and you could add these AC against the AIM, the chart supplement, the aviation instructor handbook, the airplane flying handbook, as well as the PHAC, pilot's handbook of aeronautical knowledge, will be very beneficial for you for making these, okay? As well as bold method is very good stuff as well. Go on boldmethod.com and you can find a bunch of things about runway incursion avoidance, which will be very beneficial for you, okay? Then we have the actual objective of the ACS, okay? Determine the applicant understands runway incursion avoidance, can apply that knowledge, manage associated risk, demonstrate appropriate skills, and provide effective instruction. Well, this objective right here kind of sounds like we're already having a similar objective of what everything we're trying to achieve of the outcome, okay? Then we have the actual knowledge, what we have, okay? Now, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. The ACS is very broad, okay? I've said this before time and time again. The ACS is very broad. It is not just taxi instructions and clearances. It's deeper than that, okay? It's not just these subjects, right? How many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should not have a 6-slide PowerPoint about these things, okay? Runway incursion definition. Yes, that could be maybe 1 slide, but it goes deeper than that. Taxi instructions and clearances. Yes, it could be 1 slide, but it goes deeper than that, okay? This could be easily 2, 3, 4 slides. But again, knowing your limit as well, making sure you don't have, making sure you have supplemental amount of information and adequate information. But the most important thing is that you have good and comprehensive information. Okay. So first, we're going to break down runway incursion definition, and I'm going to make sure when I'm on this, I'm going to make sure I check off this this knowledge box. Okay. In this case, would be runway incursion definition. So first up, we have the definition of a runway incursion, right? Because that's what's on the ACS. So we have the definition, the runway incursion definition. Any occurrence at blah, 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 blah. All right, I literally put the definition of it. Okay, you can find it on Google, the PHAC, Airplane Flying Handbook. You can put whatever it is down there. But as long as you know it in your head, that's what matters. As long as your DP knows that you know it, that's what matters. That's how you pass a check ride, since the runway incursion is a mandatory item on the ACS, I should mention. So again, putting the actual definition, and again, making sure it's not wordy, right? You don't want to be blah, 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 making sure it's not wordy, okay? Just break it down in simple terms, okay? I could break it down for you, a runway incursion, even though I have any occurrence in an aerodrome involving the incorrect appearance of an aircraft and runway on okay, right? No one wants to hear that. In a runway incursion, anytime a vehicle or an aircraft is basically on a protected side of the runway where they're not supposed to be, or they're on the side of an airport where they're not supposed to be, okay, and they weren't given a clearance. That's essentially what a runway incursion is, right? But again, breaking it down for your DPE, breaking it down for your student, yes, you do have the full definition of it, but you can break it down a little bit more, okay? And then I have just as a little dash mark, incorrect presence of an aircraft on a protected area of the runway, or the airport, I should say. So this would be, again, the broken down version of the main definition. Okay, easy. And then again, adding pictures. Well, we have the Sky Team. I believe the Lufthansa A330 right here. Or sorry, A340, correction. And then again, right here, just adding some extra pictures. Again, the level of actual runway incursion, D, C, B, or A. So moving on, we have on the section taxi instructions and versus clearances, and clearances. So again, making sure I have the title up here, and making sure everything's going to be broken out. Okay. Complex runway and taxiway layouts increase workload. Well, that sounds very logical, because right here, I believe is Chicago O'Hare, or sorry, not Chicago O'Hare. I don't know, one of those airports. But yeah, that's going to be like this. Okay, yeah, it is right. It is Chicago O'Hare. You see, they have multiple different runways, multiple different taxiways, right? When I'm given a very complex taxi instruction, it could be 7, 8, 9 different taxiways that I could take just to get to the opposite side of the airport. So talking about progressive taxi, talking about writing down your ATC clearance, confirming with ATC, right? Briefing this with your other SIC pilot or your student or another flight instructor that you may be flying with. So again, all this is going to correlate. So again, checking off these boxes is going to be very clear. And again, you don't want to write or type out at least and explain, all these different things. Okay, just give a brief section of what this is about. So taxi instructions and clearances. Well, yeah, complex runway and taxi layouts increase workload. That's logical, right? Always write down all the ATC taxi instructions. That sounds logical as well. Review the route given by ATC, or the brief. Progressive taxi instructions. You see how it's just little things that have to do with the overall subject of what you're trying to accomplish, right? So the taxi instructions, this is going to be just little dash marks, that little sections that that apply to the overall objective, or correction, the overall subject. Then we have over here, actually, what is next? Yeah, so the importance of recording taxi instructions and reviewing taxi routes on the airport diagram. Okay, again, what do I have up here? Recording taxi instructions and routes. It doesn't have to be word for word the exact ACS format wording, but again, it's so important to always have little dash marks like this, right? Don't overdo it on these slides. You should not have a big paragraph. You should not have, more than 2, 3, or 4 sentences. That's just ridiculous. Your DP doesn't want to see that. Again, if you're reading off these slides too, that is going to be reflecting you on a bad way. It's going to show that you kind of need a little bit of help to talk about this subject, which can be a little bit bad on your CFI check ride. Okay. So then recording taxi instructions and routes, always review brief and hotspots, right? That's important for recording these taxi instructions. Utilize your crew members. Utilizing your another CFI that you're flying with, another pilot in the aircraft, utilizing passengers as well. You may not think of passengers as pilots, but sure, they can help you grab a chart. They can help you grab your iPad out of your back for your ForeFlight or your Garmin Pilot, whatever it is, okay? Utilizing crew members, very important. So, right, you see what I'm kind of doing is how I bring in utilizing crew members, right? I say that, but then I'm also saying, okay, what other things about utilizing crew members is important. But again, I'm not looking and reading off the slide word verbatim or verbatim. I'm kind of just having a conversation with the DPE. Right? That's all this is. It's just a conversation and just logical thinking as well. Okay. And then next up, we have confirm with crew members what they heard. All right. If you have someone again on a headset, confirm. Hey, did you hear? Did he tell us to go Bravo Bravo and take November to Delta? No, he said take Alpha Alpha to Delta to Papa, right? Things like that. Confirming that with your crew would be very beneficial. Again, I'm just breaking out what I said or what's on the PowerPoint and versus how I actually communicate that and what's logical about that. Okay, then I have stuff about the briefing formula, important stuff about hotspots and the airport diagram where runway incursions could happen, or the importance of recording the taxi instructions especially. The next up, we have airport marking signs, lights, including the importance of holding lines associated with runways. Now, this is going to be a lot of information, okay? But again, breaking it down little by little. So what are the basic signage that we have at the airport, right? Because it literally says airport markings, signs, and lights. So I go in the PHAC or the airplane flying handbook, I look up all the airport markings. Okay, I go on Google, I find a picture, right? Over here, the taxiway runway hold position, the type of sign it looks like, right? Again, DPEs love pictures. Everyone loves pictures. They make things very easy, especially for new private pilot students. Okay, again, talking about this, and be logical about it. Don't just go on these 5-minute long conversations about how unfamiliar airports are important. Okay, yes, they are, but again, you don't want to make your check ride any longer than it has to. Okay, so do this it's only for your own good. But again, having little dash points is going to be very important. And going over appropriate flight deck activities, including taxi route planning, briefing, the location of hotspots, communicating and coordinating with ATC. Again, checking this off on the box. Now, your DPE will know, again, this doesn't have to be in order specifically, because as you see, the next one is night taxi operations, okay? But again, this is going to be as well on the risk management, okay? Risk management in the technical subject area is going to be very important. Yes, you need to talk about these things, but make sure, again, you're not just reading it off the slide, right? I have things about night taxi operations in here, okay? But also, it's pretty similar to low vis operations, okay? It's going to be more or less the same thing, essentially. Okay, so being logical with your format. But again, risk management, always, I would honestly make a slide for each of the risk management skills and associate that into your PowerPoint at some point, okay? So make sure you do that. So again, you see how this 6 slides can become easily 12, 13, 14. This one specifically, I only have 12, going up to parallel runway operations, which is the last section of the risk management skills, which I check off, the operating on taxiways. And then the last one would be the skills, okay? Delivering instruction on the elements and techniques for runway incursion avoidance. Well, if I'm talking about all this, it sounds pretty good, like I did a good job talking about everything about night taxi operations, low visibility operations, but again, check off these boxes. Ask your CFI instructor to go over these boxes. Give it a look over. See how it looks. Have a conversation with another student that you could talk with them and teach them about a subject. That would be a great option for before going into your CFI check ride, having almost a mock oral, I guess, essentially for this, okay? So again, checking off the knowledge box. We check that off. Risk management box. We check that off. And the skills, the ultimate skill, what we're trying to achieve. Deliver the instruction on the elements and techniques for runway incursion avoidance. That sounds like we did that. All right. So again, and then as well, you could probably add a reference page for these right here, going over these, the AC 9173, the AIM, chart supplement, blah, 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 PHAC, airplane flying handbook. Go over all of these, okay? Because if it's on here, task C, runway incursion avoidance, and it's giving you references on what all this is, more likely or more or less likely to find all these topics in these references, okay? So use these references to your aid. They are there for a reason, for you as a CFI to go over for your CFI check ride. So that's it. That is runway incursion avoidance and how to manage risk management associated with the technical subject areas. This is just a video on how to go over the technical subject areas. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would like me to go over the runway incursion avoidance or anything a little bit more in depth, or any other technical subject areas that you guys may be lacking with, or any other CFI guides that you would need as well. So drop a like, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'm at 250 right now. I would much appreciate it. And we have a bunch of content on the way for you, especially some CFII content, as well private through commercial, will be a little bit in the future. So until then, I'm the Jack Pilot. Welcome to Jack Pilot Aviation. Hope you had a great time learning today. Until then, maintain VFR, free change approved. Sir.